everything starts with the network. You have to build a network, a LinkedIn network. And then when you are in these, let's say in the DACH area, I would say Germany, Austria, Switzerland, still nowadays, it has changed a lot, but still nowadays, it's people saying, I don't want to connect with you because I don't know you. So Sing, that's his thing. Yeah. It took me 5 years to get to 1,000 connections on Sing. So for you to have an idea.
Wow.
It's for someone like me, of course, I don't speak German. It's hard. But LinkedIn is different to Sing. And the DACH area is realizing that from, I said, 3 years ago, it started to change like a lot. But still, you have to explain why. This is an algorithm. So it's very important that you build a network. And I would say if you work in this business, you have to have at least 3,000 connections.
Yeah.
At least. But the very first step is to get you to the 500. So in the company, we develop a strategy and we teach, I would say more the new people that entering my team, at least in the team that we are, because it is a technique, we call the technical, the IT team, to build quickly a network. And we manage in less than 2 weeks, the guys have already 500 connections. And then from there on to build quality. At the beginning is get to the 500.
Okay. Can we take it step by step? Because you mentioned already so many interesting aspects of recruiting, right? You mentioned Zing, which we will get to in a bit. And now, for someone who is just kind of starting the LinkedIn profile, you mentioned the first milestone would be 500. So can we pause here a bit, and would you be able to share some strategies on how to get to those first 500 connections on LinkedIn?
Well, the very first thing, to my experience, is to build a profile. And it doesn't mean that you put all the details, but you have to have at least a photo. You need to have a photo. You need to have some basic background experience. The section about, to write something there. Education and languages. I think languages in Europe is a must.
Oh, really?
Really. It's in Europe, it is important. Because even more if you are an IT. Because in depending when you are, English is 100%, you have to speak English. But still in the DACH area, your German is also important. It's actually, it's very important. I don't like to say it, but it is still.
Yeah. You are not German, right?
Oh, no.
You got to Austria, where you work these days, right? So for you, it was more difficult than for others, even, right, to build the connections on LinkedIn.
Well, when I got to Austria, basically my network in Austria was null, nothing. Awesome. It was very, very limited. Yeah, I had built my network in Germany, let's say.
Awesome.
So I was focusing on the type of positions that I was doing. That was more C. Not just C, but it was more there.
And how many connections do you have these days?
Well, I keep fighting to stay around 20,000. And with that, I mean, I keep deleting and deleting and deleting. Because I don't want to even get close to the 30,000. That is the limit that LinkedIn allows me to have. And in my case, LinkedIn is my work, my tool to work. And I use it to connect with people. And although I have a recruiter license, this is something I use to source. But I still try to connect with people in the real one, in the public one. It's because those connections are the ones that count. No? Okay. And but continue with how to build the profile. Once you have a basic that you can start adding people, still, it changes always, but still today, when we are talking, these, I don't know how to say it, the lion people. This is LION. This is still a must. Still people will write in their profiles lion, and which means LinkedIn open network. They are building networks and they would accept whatever invitation. So this is one of the first, of course, people that you know. I would should have started with that one. So in the company, the first thing that we do is the new guys that open the profile, connected to all the Schulmeister people. So all our consultants, and we are 50 plus. So it's a good way to start.
Yeah, it adds up the second connections quickly.
Yeah, and normally they have like students, other people that they had in university. So with that, you reach the 100 or so, and then you go with the lion.
Awesome. That's great. And then you reach the first milestone, which would be the 500 connections, for example.
500.
And then
Yes.
go from 500 to 3,000 or to 20,000 in your case. But can we also pause here? And people may wonder, because it's not just about the number, right? Like you can connect with you can connect with sales people who will also gladly accept, right? But they will not really be helpful in your recruiting activities. So how do you know who to connect with? If imagine a recruiter who is starting the career, they are connecting, but who should they connect with? Of course, lions, but then?
Now, before that question, there is another question. Should I connect or should I follow? I would say that's more important before. Because LinkedIn is now, it's not, I don't like that part, but it is it. This is a Facebook. This is a social media. So it's a place to be if you want to be professional, or for the professionals, I don't know exactly what can be motivations, but it's the feed is a main part. And what they are trying to push is the followers. It's followers. But the thing is that if you work in this business, it doesn't make any impact to you, because you need to feed the algorithm. So you need to connect to be sure that you are connecting. But as when you are starting, most of the LinkedIn network, general network, are gonna be your third degree connection. Then the default icon that you will get is the follow icon. So you have to know how to find the connect, because you can connect, and then ideally send a message to this person, write something, and that increases your chances to get this person accepting your connection. So I would say that this difference is crucial, because if you start just to follow, okay, you follow a bunch of people, but it doesn't mean anything in your network for your purposes. The sourcing part.
This is actually very good. Very good that you mentioned it, because I didn't realize it before you mentioned it, but because I see connect with most of the people, because I also have about 30,000 connections. So my second connections are like probably in millions. So I always see connect on all profiles, right? But people who are just kind of starting this connection game, they would see follow on most profiles.
Yes.
Interesting. Yes. Very cool. Okay. So they start connecting. There's this button. I will probably highlight it somewhere in the community on some screenshot on how to expand the menu and find the connect button.
Yes. Cool. And then other thing is you need a bit of structure when you're starting, because LinkedIn, they don't want you to be connecting to people that you like, just connecting, because they know that you are building this network. So they try to slow down your process, and they will send you a warning, or you are adding so many people that you don't know. We advise you to follow, so you will start getting these warnings, and they may block your account for some days. So it may happen. So the strategy that we design is that every day you work some 30 minutes, 15 minutes. It depends on what you are doing, to add some people regularly to your network. So I would say that's before who to add. And then it is very personal, no? Who to add depends on the what is your area of searching. But there is gonna be a moment that you and at some point you have to search. So you can search by company, for example, but because you have to narrow. And the more you use the search filter, the more the LinkedIn warns you are using too much. So they don't want the recruiters to use the LinkedIn public one. They want you to buy the license. So of course they will start blocking. So then it is when you have to play. For example, for me, I X-ray a lot, and then I get to the profiles X-raying. not searching on LinkedIn. Although I have the recruiter license, but the recruiter license also have, they show you what they want. So you have to search in different ways. You cannot rely just on this tool.
No? It's actually quite interesting. In the LinkedIn Recruiter version, there is not any button to connect, right? You need to go from LinkedIn Recruiter. No. You need to find the URL of the public profile, open the public profile. It's so annoying, right? But they know why
they would not even show the candidate that you saw the profile.
Yeah.
So they in the last meeting that I had with the LinkedIn people, they recommended to do vetting. They call it. So it increases the chances that the person accepts your message, because the person, which is something that I was doing from before, but now they use it as a strategy, So you go, you open the public profile of the person, you visit it, which is something I always do, because it is not just about, if you're going to do this job, you have to really search and do research. And then you have to see, is this person active? If this person is active, what is the person posting? In which language the person is posting? So it gives you a lot of information that is hidden. Or a lot of people would hide the name. But 80% of the time, you find the name because the person had a certification, because the person had a project or something that the name is displayed. Yeah. Sometimes even in the same link, so on the same link is so to have a recruiter license doesn't mean you don't see the public profile. No, you have to work with them together.
Interesting.
Definitely.
Interesting. Okay, so that's very cool. And you mentioned also that you search these people, but let's say if you are a recruiter, you work on IT, and then there are plenty of IT professionals across different IT roles, right? Analysts, architects, software developers, cybersecurity specialists. So who do you connect with? You just imagine again some recruiter who is out there and he's wondering, or she's wondering, how to start connecting with people. So who should they connect with?
When I'm searching, I connect with the one that I don't need. That's my way. I don't connect with that person when I need that person. I connect when I don't need this person. So normally, if you are browsing, if you are searching, let's say, I have been working with a PHP role, searching for PHP software engineers. And then you see profiles, and you see a lot of people that they are not the right fit for your project. But it doesn't mean that this person could not be a fit for a future project, because you know your clients. So this person might be. So if I see that person and I send them an invitation to connect. So and then normally I write a message that says something like, our linked networks could be of mutual benefit, could be beneficial for the two of us. So let's connect. Is it okay for you? Or very politely. But I understand some people don't want to connect, but I still ask, and I don't lose anything by asking. So it's then is when I connect, and I would advise that, because that helps you to build a network with the right people for you, and at the same time, when you need this person, you're already connected to this person, so you don't need the recruiter to contact the person because you're already in touch. So you might have already sometimes this is the way to create real communication. Sometimes the person sees something that gets attention, and then a conversation starts. And if you jot down these details in the profile, then you might have them as something to mention when you want to start another conversation. But it has to be like real, that you really care about establishing this communication. So this is, I think this is one of the main problems of our industry, because we have a very bad fame, and well, I understand. I think the candidates have reasons to have this feeling, that you just spam people, that you just thought you didn't even read my profile. That's something very. So that's I would say that's something I try to. Sometimes it also happens to me, but I really try to do that. Service is first. That is, I define this job for me as knocking on doors. So I always thought that the worst job that I could have was selling books or whatever product door by door. You know, it's just, for me, it was like when I was young, it was like, oh my God, that would be the most horrible thing I would have to do. And then I am doing that. I ended up
Just
doing that,
online.
but
Online.
it's online. Yeah, I keep knocking on doors and asking. So I have this. Maybe you are interested, but it's not bad because when the person opens the door and says, yeah, I might have some interest to learn something, then you tell this person. And it feels really great when this person gets the job. And this person was not really searching for a position, for a new thing. And then the person happens to see that a great opportunity was waiting for him, and it was the right moment, and it was it's something nice behind this. It's all knocking on doors.
Yeah, indeed. At the end, it may have very nice, positive, happy endings, right? Especially when, let's say, you place a candidate and then a year or 2 years later, he or she comes back to you saying like, hey, that was an awesome project, awesome journey. I relocated to another country. Like that's very fulfilling eventually.
What is even nicer when they become your clients. And this person, because you did a good job, this person remembers your company and they want you to search for someone that they are doing, which is a case for us really often. So we have a lot of clients that they were our candidates previously. It's also coming from the previous company, let's say, because it's a network. Somehow you bring your network. It's not my case, but the thing is that I got to this business with my husband. Is my husband the one that knows the business? So I just needed a job. And then he said, oh, you could do this. But then it had been me who had developed my path, let's say.
Wonderful. Okay, so and coming back to LinkedIn, now we kind of covered the first part of the process when someone is building the profile, connecting with people, and they start using LinkedIn Recruiter, whether it is the light or corporate version. So what's next? I mean, how do they even decide which LinkedIn version to go for? And then, we can elaborate on different stages, someone who is just using it as a lone individual versus a large team like yours, where you are the admin for other recruiters in your company, right? So we can elaborate on this as well in the next few minutes.
Well, as I have the experience working somehow alone, let's say, that I have my own license I was doing, I think someone can, once they have built a decent profile, I think the light version could be helpful. But I don't think that you need the recruiter license to really search for candidates. So of course, but you have to build a network. So there, let's say that you need it. No, that it makes your job easier. Yes, of course. But when you see how much you have to pay, it depends on the size, of your business.
Do you now mean LinkedIn Recruiter, the corporate version, which costs about 1,000 euros per month? Or do you mean LinkedIn Recruiter Lite, which costs about 150 euros?
It is what I started with the Lite when I first started. So I know that it works. But it works for you alone. You cannot collaborate with other people with that license. And you cannot keep anything. Once you stop paying, you lost everything. So it is why I would not advise to rely on it. I would advise strongly to build the network. And you can use the light to build your network. That might help. But I don't. It's just that you are asking me for a small business, for someone starting alone. Nowadays there are so many tools that you don't really need the recruiter to work. It's if you go with a person, if someone goes with a person like you and receive a basic training, then you even more if this person has an IT affinity, it's even easier. It's learning Boolean logic, learning X-ray. With X-ray, it's like you get access to a lot of, even on LinkedIn, because the problem is you have to be careful with the GDPR. But if you X-ray LinkedIn, then you can connect with this person. And if the person is interested, the person will accept. Well, what can happen is that this person is not active on LinkedIn. It can happen. But then there are other platforms. So I don't think that you need it. But it is why I would prefer to focus on the agencies, because it's different. So in an agency, you have different sources to get candidates. In our case, we have a sourcing department. So for IT. So we have sourcers, we have consultants. Our consultants are not selling. Our consultants are doing end-to-end positions. So they are taking the candidates and placing the candidates. And let's say how we get candidates. Well, candidates are applied, which we know is not the most common one. And you have candidates that you source yourself and candidates from your network. So it's in this way, to use the recruiter license as a team is very important, because in the recruiter license, the professional, this one that is 1,000 plus per month, you have history. No? Who saw this profile? Who connected with this profile? So we can use the notes. I can mention other people in my team. And all my team is have a recruiter, at least a recruiter view, if they don't have the full life, so they can see, they can have access, and it's a very good tool to communicate. But it is just with the full version. The light doesn't work for that. So okay. It's a lot of people, even LinkedIn people, don't know how it works because they don't use the product. So it's as they don't use the product, they learn. Okay, this is it. They get the search, but they don't. It's like the developers on LinkedIn are in one planet, and the marketing people and the sellers are in another planet. They don't communicate properly.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Okay. Well, your experience is priceless in this context. Okay, so so once companies start using LinkedIn Recruiter Corporate, the full version, like what are the best ways to get the most out of it? What are some best practices that you have adopted after plenty of years of working with it and experimenting and trying different ways on how to use it?
If you're an agency, which is our case, the first thing I would say is to assign recruiter accounts to all the consultants that work there. So it doesn't matter how you work together or how independently of, because you have when you buy the licenses, you also have some other type of licenses, and there is one license that just allows you to see, but that's enough. Because once this is activated, then if I see a candidate and I think this person might be good for my colleague, because I know my colleague is working in this project, then I can mention this person, like writing an act, mention the person and writing a note. Is this person of interest to you? Should I contact him or should I do it? It's very fast. The person receives the notification and replies there in the note, and this is always recorded there. And if the consultant saw the candidate, I saw that in my history. I saw how many times we contacted this person. We are not violating GDPR, because this is using the product, and we cannot, at least in IT, we cannot put all the persons that we visit, that we manage to contact on a database, because it's just impossible. You will never end asking people for the GDPR. So in that way, LinkedIn Recruiter makes your life easier, and you can have some sense, some idea who are you contacting. No? So I would say I don't know. I have the feeling that not so many companies do it, but this is something that works for us. The internal communication through the recruiter.
Awesome. And how does it work with these view-only accounts? Like, do you pay still for the view-only account? I guess not the full amount, right? It must be something
else. No, they
else.
are included. They're included. But they wouldn't tell you. It's even yourself, you have to figure out. You have no idea how much I have studied the licenses and the way, because it is impossible to understand. I had a meeting last year with our customer success manager, and it was me explaining her the type of licenses and because she realized it was not the way she thought.
Oh, wow.
And then I had to do all this split to understand what is what we have, what is what we don't, and how to manage it. So I'm very sure when I tell you most of the people selling and attending the customers don't really know the functionality. And I don't blame them because it takes a lot of time to figure it out.
Awesome.
It's complex.
That's very cool. Okay, so once someone starts using it, I mean, they could go with the free account as you mentioned, and just use the X-ray to get to those LinkedIn profiles, start connecting. Then the next step would be to use LinkedIn Recruiter Lite for about 150 euros per month, and use it. But be careful because
at least to build your account.
To build the account,
yeah.
But also need to be careful because once you stop paying the monthly subscription, then all the data is gone, and you need to start.
If you keep it in the light, yes. But if you are smart enough to switch to the public one, you don't lose it. This is why I say it would be not your main source. It would be just it supports you.
Yes.
You have to just to get help by this, but you always have to go to the public. So it's we had a case, a consultant that joined us, that he was working the recruiter, and when he got to work with us, he had a network that was 1,000 something, even with experience, because he was doing everything on the recruiter. That was his work. So, and then here we have been telling him, though, you have to don't rely on the recruiter license. You have to build your public, and that's another thing. I think it's important. If you leave the company, if today I leave Showmaster, all the data that all my job and all what I did in the recruiter account stays there. So they still see it. It doesn't delete. I go, but the linking information of all what I did, it stays there. All the messages, all this, very good. So it's very good for the company. But then if you don't take care to build your own network, then it's going to be you that is leaving and having nothing. So I think it's like a win-win. Build your network, because it will also be of benefit, and you will bring it if you decide to go somewhere else in the future. It's your network. No one is gonna take it away from you. Well, LinkedIn, I don't know. Everything changes. So, but at least no, the recruiter itself.
Yeah, well,
you have to work always together.
They can also suspend the account, as you also mentioned, and it happened to me several times as well. A few people in our company as well. So it can happen. Hopefully, not block completely. That would be super annoying, right?
Some days.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, cool. So we kind of covered the start of the journey, right? With how to build a profile, how to fill the right sections on the profile to be able to connect with people. We covered how to start connecting with people, and then how to use LinkedIn Recruiter Lite and Recruiter Corporate. So we kind of covered the whole process, which is very cool. And I'm wondering whether you'd like to share some kind of final advice to people who are transitioning to tech recruitment and are willing to, get most out of LinkedIn, because you have vast experience with it. So what would be the kind of one best recommendation that you would say, or maybe not best, but I mean your final recommendation?
To contact someone like you. I think that makes life easier, because there is already people that they have the processes and the know-how, and it takes time to grab it from different places and the structure. So it's invest in some good training, and that's I think that's a good advice.
Thank you. And it's so cool that people like you also share the tips and best practices, right? Because I mean, it takes time to discover all of these and understand how things work, right? So thanks a lot for sharing all these tips and tricks. And thanks. Where can people connect with you and find out more about what you do?
LinkedIn.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
It's the only social network that I use. I don't use social network. So I have a Facebook account, back from when it existed, when it was created. I don't know. But I don't use social network. No, not for me. I'm already 40 plus. I have family. I have a child. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, WhatsApp is enough. It's the only thing, and I use it with limitations because, of course, I'm a foreigner. I have my family all over. No, I come from Venezuela, but let's say there's I think it's a well-known situation with the Venezuelan diaspora, what is called, and then of course I have my family in different countries. Some in Venezuela, but a lot of them in all the countries. So it's WhatsApp is like kind of the way to keep in touch. But even that, I manage carefully how I use it, because I think we have to learn to use the social media, because what is happening is that the social media uses us, and that's difficult. It's coming from me with my team. I have a 10-year-old boy. This is coming, so. But LinkedIn is the way to contact me. I am every day online. I try to avoid weekends, but even on weekends, sometimes I am available.
Okay, so cool. I'll include your LinkedIn profile URL in the show notes, in the comments.
Thank you.
We can connect with you, and and build their talent pool as well, and Lion Network. Awesome. So thanks.
Well, I'm not Lion. I am in a stage that I am picky with the invitations that I accept. Of course, if I have someone adding me to the network without message and that person has 30 connections, I don't accept this connection, this invitation, because this is nothing that I gain. So let's do your job. Let's just know me. And this is part of it. That's another thing that you learn in this business, to deal with rejection. Yeah. I would say for me, it was one of the main things to learn. It's not easy. It was not easy, at least. And this is a way to you get rejected so much that then you learn how to deal with it. It's not that bad. It's part of the growing process.
Yeah, well, I guess we should record the second episode, and that focuses more on the psychology of recruiting, which is how to deal with rejection, how to stay positive and enthusiastic, right? But let's leave it for later. So we can catch up again. So yeah, thanks a lot for all the insights that you shared, and we'll be in touch. Have a good day.
Okay, you're welcome. Bye. Thanks so much for the opportunity. Ciao.
Bye.